of what the philosophical value of this school is. And I want to say that I think you need to define for us what you believe the current philosophical value of our school is, the current moral value of our school is. Because if the economic system that you want to put in place is not in service of that value, then it means nothing. I also want to make mention that charging tuition as an economic plan for an institution of higher learning might be sustainable for whatever institutions decide to charge that tuition, but it is absolutely not sustainable for the students who have to pay that tuition. So if the sustainability of your plan only reaches as far as the walls of this school, then it means nothing. Thanks.
Hello, I am Pablo Chea in the School of Art, and I've also put some things down on paper. In order to navigate the uncertainties of our future, I believe we need to start very basically and in looking forward and moving forward, as we've spoken already tonight. I've written what I would call a social contract for our community, and I'd like to show it and see what you guys think and maybe further it. Let's engage in an experiment, something we're all quite familiar with, of communal administration. The proposition of a social contract in which one's force and liberty are agreed to be respected and observed as communal primary instruments of our personal maintenance. A contract in which we will approach this and any communal issue with a dialectic mental disposition and with care for our community. This way we can form a community to defend ourselves and retain personal integrity, and because we are together in the condition, and the condition is equal for everyone, we refrain from making it burdensome for others. Though these words alienate the individual, it is to make the unison clear and enable the collective effort to reside in all of our beings equally. In taking part of this contract, you gain the equivalent of the individual freedoms you are setting aside, along with greater amount of force to preserve what we have, all of it. Essentially, that each of us places his support in common under the direction of the general will. And as one, we receive each member as an indivisible part of the whole. We always want what's good for us, but we don't always see what it is. And there is a great deal of distance between the will of all and the general will.
Hello, my name is Jasmine. I'm a junior in the School of Art. I have goosebumps from these speeches, so I hope to be articulate. When we were outside just now, I heard some strangers yelling "reality check" to us, and I think that was trying to tell us that we need to realize that education costs money. I think that the reality check that needs to happen is for the administration to realize that the ideals of Cooper Union and a tuition are not reconcilable. There was also something I wanted to thank Buckley for, which is to misuse of history, or to lean back on that. As soon as we started saying, but historically the school was free, I also heard a lot of, well, actually, here are the facts, and it wasn't always free. For me, coming here, I may not be as grateful as the rest of you for having a free tuition, because I still see what we pay as a tuition, but it's a right and not a privilege, as was just pointed out. The rest of what I have to say is more a reaction of what I've heard people say since Monday and in emails, and I have a feeling that people are pinning against each other a little bit in response to the question of students helping in this task force and student input. And I feel that there is on one hand a fear of being too naive, and on the other hand, a fear of being too cynical. And I think we need to be both, if naive means being optimistic. Aaron and Chris were pointing out in the emails that giving student responsibility is taking away from their studies and not acknowledging that that is a job of trustees and the administration. What I think is more important in that danger is that if we start coming up with ideas, or if we are relied upon for creative ideas, the failure at the end of this will not be wholly in the hands of the administration, but it is their fault. I think that what happened yesterday in Greece, Prime Minister Papandreou calling a last-minute referendum, is really poignant to this, because basically it shows us the paradox of a free choice in democracy. In the last minute of a crisis, he's saying you can choose between A and B, one being a painful bailout that was just labored over in Brussels, and the other being to leave the Eurozone. But they're not allowed to choose any other letter. I think we need to acknowledge at the same time that his decision to have a referendum is also courageous, because even though it might be an insult and take away from the accountability of the people who have driven them into the financial crisis for decades, it's still saying that you have a voice, and the time to take that is more important than making rash decisions right now. And in a way, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And I think we need to acknowledge that for our president to some degree. Yes. I agree, it's a problem. It's not our responsibility to come up with ideas, but as Kareem said in an email, it also is the only way for us to have quick transparency right now, is to be in meetings. And you know, it's unfortunate that it's called a task force, because that could be a name for the SWAT team, but you know, we need to show our presence there, and it's the only way for us to stop the spreading of rumors and to keep accurate information in the community right now. Thank you.